Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to Ballin NBA Finals Game 2 recap between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. Played in Denver tonight, and boy, do we have a series now. We're expected to be joined by Alex Campbell here in a couple seconds once he gets his camera working and everything like that. But we have a series now as the Miami Heat have tied up the series 1-1 with the Denver Nuggets. And despite having 40 points from Nikola Jokic, and Denver looked like they were, going in spurts there. They wanted to basically take a two-game to none lead heading to Game 3 Wednesday in Miami, but the Miami Heat used a dominant fourth quarter to beat the Nuggets 111-108 in Game 2. The NBA Finals, as mentioned, are tied up now, one game apiece. Gabe Vincent put in 23 points to lead five double-digit scores for Miami, while Jokic scored a game-high 41 points in the defeat here. And once again, Wednesday, Game 3 of the NBA Finals takes place in Miami. We're going to be joined now by Alex Campbell. Fired up, Alex. Let's see if Alex is there. Alex, you there? Well, we're going to have technical difficulties with Alex there. He's trying to, you could see, he's trying to endeavor to get his face on there. But surprising, a game of spurts here by both teams. Miami really came in there. There's Alex at your microphone's covering your face there a little bit. So if you want to put down your microphone a little bit, yeah, that's right. Can you hear me first of all? We can't hear you. We can't hear you. So that's it. So sit back with try to fix out the technical difficulties. We'll get back to you in a couple seconds here while I do a brief recap of the game here. Miami at the end of the first quarter was up 26-23. Denver came back in the second quarter, outscoring them 34-25. Basically even third quarter, 26-24 for Denver, but Miami put the game away in the fourth, 36-25. Bam Adebayo had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks for the Heat. Other scorers for the Heat was Jimmy Butler. In 40 minutes, he had a total. Alex, you there? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Jimmy Butler, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. Kevin Love, who started tonight's game, had 6 points, 10 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals. Vincent, as mentioned, had 23 points and 3 assists, 2 steals. Strauss had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 6. Kyle Lowry, 9 points and 3 assists for Miami Heat. Alex is trying to endeavor to get his sound going on there. We still can't hear you. Nothing going on. So hopefully we'll get back to Alex in a couple seconds. Jokic, 41 points, 11 boards, but only 4 assists. Gordon, 12 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Murray, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists. I think, Alex, we hear something, but
Yeah,
yeah, right now, okay, we got you on. Don't move. Don't do anything.
I'm
We
not
got
doing a
you on
thing.
there.
Not doing a thing.
We got a series now, one game apiece, heading to Game 3 Wednesday, June 7th, 8:30 in Miami. Is this a surprising game for you? With back and forth? Miami went on a roll, then Denver, scored like 20 straight points, and then Miami comes back in the fourth. A good game, and Jokic, 41 points, 11 boards, okay, but 4 assists. That's when you look, it's a game of a lifetime for everybody. Put it that way. But for Jokic, when you put down the assist, he's used to passing the ball, and I think that was the trouble there for Denver. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree that Denver kind of got out of their game plan and their format in that way. Jokic, like you said, with only 4 assists, that's pretty low. But what really happened is the Heat came out with a totally different game plan. Look, they only shot 2 free throws in game one. In this game, they got to the rim consistently. And what that did is that opened up shots eventually, all that driving the lane for these other these role players to get open looks, and lo and behold, they came through like they have in other games here in the playoffs. I mean, in the last 18 games, they've been absolutely fantastic. Guys like Caleb Martin, Struess, who by the way went on a big run there in the third quarter
Yeah.
tonight. Again, you know what I mean. So they've gotten so much out of the role players, and this is also the series that they needed to get out of Bam Adebayo. He's really shown up. In game one, I felt like he was the most productive force they had, and then in game two, he shows up big again as a rim protector. And that's really the greatest asset they have against Jokic is if Bam can put. I mean, look, you're not going to completely stop him. Jokic still went off and scored almost 40 points. So I mean, that was the difference on defense really too, is that they didn't double team him as much. When they double team him, he gets wide open looks to all those wing players he has to throw it to. In the pick and roll game with Jamal Murray is just unreal. But when it's man coverage like that, one on one, it's a little bit different, and he's gonna take his own look more often. He did tonight, and we talked about it, kind of took the Nuggets out of rhythm a little bit. I felt.
All right. Well, look at the other side. Miami must be thrilled
Yeah.
going back to Miami, tied up. Like Miami thought, okay, they're not. There's no way they're gonna take 2 games in Denver, right? So they must be thrilled, heading back to Miami for game 3 and 4 there. And if they hold court, we got a series going back to Denver. If it could be 3-1, but I think we're gonna get a series. I think Miami's going to take one, and Denver's going to take one. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to split in Miami too. Just because Denver's still the overwhelming favorite and is going to be in each one of these games. I mean, tonight they were an 8.5 point favorite. I predicted that the Heat would cover the spread, and they did. And they did more than that. But I think that they already made it a competitive series. Right now, the Nuggets, like, don't forget, this is the first championship, the first finals in franchise history. So this is not territory known for anybody on that team, or anybody really, in that franchise. So I mean, like, this is a completely different experience. And we're talking about a Heat team that has dismantled a few teams they weren't expected to already. In all those series, they were 1-1 to begin, except for Boston, who they were up 2-0 against. They were 1-1 against the Knicks, and they were also 1-1 against Milwaukee. Um, And so it's not a good position, really, if you're the Nuggets to give up. When you just gave up home court advantage, really. I still think you're the overwhelming favorite in the series. The Nuggets have to be, still, I would say probably in 6 in this one, at worst. But yeah, I think they split in Florida.
And by the way, Captain Canada Drew Ebanks on Point Basketball. He's away. I sent it to cover the CBL, the Scarborough Shooting Stars. They fell tonight, so he couldn't join us. He'll be back for game 3 post and preview, and hopefully we'll have Tracy Murray for game 3, 4, and 5. They're a great guy here. I know him for about 30 years, so hopefully we'll have the. I sent your buddy Billy and Norm, and they said they had enough of Alex Campbell and all that. No, they unfortunately couldn't be here also. So it's just me and you, the A team. Put it that way, the
That's
A
fair.
team, the A team there. Now, other news. I just want to touch on other news here before we get to game
Yeah.
2 and game 3 here. Frank Vogel now is
Hmm.
the new coach there. Um, the only one left, the only team left is the Raptors, and I put it in our specialized group that it's going from my sources, and so far I haven't been wrong with you, and I knew it, and I said it to you and Drew probably 4 or 5 shows ago. I said, watch Musaya Ujiri name a coach where you never even heard of, out of left field. And it looks like he's going to go out of left field, maybe deep, deep, deep left field, all right, to Barcelona coach. And it looks like that may be announced this week. Um, I can't even pronounce his name. Maybe you want to try pronouncing his name, but what do you hear from that?
um, I honestly haven't heard of that yet. You're breaking news to me. So take that back again. Where's this coach from?
I think it's Barcelona. I think it's
Barcelona.
yeah. Go check in the group. See if you could pronounce that name. And I don't know. And they're talking also to Sergio, who used to assistant coach here in the Raptors. So the Raptors are the only team without a coach now. But how do you think Frank Vogel's going to do?
Oh, I think Frank Vogel is going to be a stabilizing force there. I like the hire by the Suns. It's interesting. It's really going to be interesting how he's able to handle all that. Really, you've got two players there that you're not gonna teach a lot to. So it's really about developing the role players and the guys around them. And I think getting the most you can out of DeAndre Ayton, whether that means as a player on the floor, committed to winning a championship with those two players, or getting the most out of him as a trade asset down the line. So I think that those are his primary jobs, and I think he'll succeed. You would get an experienced coach like that with a great roster. They're going to win a lot of games. It's really going to be all about if they can stay healthy going into the playoffs, and they can execute, and if they can build that roster a little more and get a little more help, especially on the defensive end. With perimeter defense and maybe a little paint defense too. Ayton can't be in there, and he's pretty much like a B level paint defender as is. They've got a few pieces to put together, but at the same time, like, it's just a few, and they could really be contenders because they have an all-time great in Kevin Durant, and they have really an up-and-coming superstar in Booker.
And you know what? I'm not going to equate it, but I am going to equate it with the Los Angeles Lakers when he was brought in to coach the Lakers. They had some guy, what's his name, LeBron, and Anthony Davis,
Yeah.
and now if you look at Phoenix, they have some guy named Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and all that. And I'm not saying Durant's LeBron and all that, but don't
Well,
you see a lot of similarities there?
yeah, I do, and really, to me, it's like you look at all the changes historically in the NBA. I mean, really look over the last 30 years. There's one thing that generally rings true about championship teams, is that's really that they have the holy trinity on the roster of good guard play, a wing guy that can really put up points and lock down the perimeter, and also somebody in the paint, a paint presence on offense and on defense. And I think the Suns have two of those three, and a middling third, maybe with Ayton. Um, and I really like the comparison between, especially at this stage in their careers, LeBron and Durant. They're really just at this point shot makers, not really guys that are driving the rim constantly. But Durant, consistently for his entire career has been unstoppable on that little turnaround. One leg kick flip, kick out fadeaway in the post. I mean, he makes that, I swear, at like an 80% clip when you're watching it.
It's simply fantastic what
It is.
Durant does, and then there's a lot of similarities there. But how do you like to be in Miami and Florida? Because Stanley Cup Game 2 happens
Yeah.
Monday, but then Thursday, happens Game 3 in Florida, Game 3 and 4 in Florida, and then Wednesday, Friday, NBA Game 3 and 4 in the same arena for NBA. Like,
Yeah.
let's go to Florida, Miami specifically next week, and let's see what we can do there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be fantastic. They're just having one of those runs that some cities have in sports. I think you've seen Boston have that kind of success. A lot of different cities. LA has certainly had that kind of success where multiple franchises win. And it's really kind of that's what's so great about sports, is that it can boost an entire city and a community, and really, like, in a pretty impactful way when you have multiple winning franchises. It gives an upbeat and positive attitude to a lot of people.
And
So
you mentioned sorry,
it's big time.
sorry, you mentioned Boston. Sam Cassell now brought in as a special coach there, or
Yes.
assistant coach there. I like Sam Cassell. I
Yeah.
like what he brings. He's a young guy, much like all these young guys there at Lou. You've been praising Tyrone Lue, right? So much like him, I think that could be a good addition for the Celtics.
100%. And they lose a guy really almost mid-season in Damon Stoudemire, who's also very similar. I think they really felt that loss, especially down the stretch. Missoula is a first-time head coach, and so you need not a former player himself, and so you need somebody to kind of guide some of the ways of the game, especially in those in-game moments. With Missoula, he just didn't have a lot going into this. Didn't even have his own assistant coaches, under his staff. And I don't feel like it really showed. I mean, they turned into a 3-point only shooting team, like I've said before. But yeah, I really like the hire because I think he can help provide some of that veteran presence. And I really like Cassell as a coach, long term, kind of like you said, fits the mold of a Teron Lue, or like I mentioned, to Damon Stoudemire.
All right, so again, series tied up at 1, going to Game 3 Wednesday. We'll do a preview prior to the game and all that, but let's give a little snippet here. What do you expect in Game 3? Because I could tell you, Miami is going to be rocking. It's going to be rocking, and the crowd. We see a little bit of star power in Denver, but not like in Miami. In
Right.
Miami, we're going to see. I guarantee you, Dwayne Wade, Gabriel Wade. We're going to see a lot of guys. We're maybe going to see a bunch of Florida Panthers there too.
Yeah.
So, and Miami's going to be rocking. If there's a game to win for Miami, it's definitely Game 3.
Yeah, it's got to be Game 3. That this is really, I mean, even historically in any 7-game series, Game 3 is the most important game. Normally, who wins Game 3 dictates the series. Really. So and beyond that, they're going to be underdogs again, like we said before. So even at home, I would expect them to be somewhere around probably 4 to 5 point underdogs at home against the Nuggets. And so. They're still gonna still gonna take a heck of an effort. I mean, Bam Adebayo's got to come out and play a heck of a game again. Shaq said something about Anthony Davis earlier in these playoffs when they were playing the Warriors, and he said after a great game that Davis had, it was like 20 points and 30 boards or something ridiculous like that. Shaq goes, "That was a great job, kid, but do it again." You know what I mean? And that's exactly what the Heat need out of Bam Adebayo. Like, that was a great job. Again, we just need you to do it again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and again and again and again and again, because that is the way that the Heat would have any chance at this series.
Denver must be disappointed. They're like, today was a game of runs.
Yeah.
They're low, they're high, they're back down, the low, and everything like that. Denver, the game was there. Today was there for Denver. They're playing at home. They come back off a high, and then it just didn't feel right. And Miami shows the intentional fortitude that got them this far because they're an 8 seed and they're lucky. They the play-in game and everything like that. And then, they're tied 3 games away from capturing the NBA title, the
Yeah.
Larry OB.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, this would be such an incredible mark on Jimmy Butler's career, and his really he's been a superstar for a long time in the league now. He's a bit of a journeyman. He's bounced around a little bit. I think he certainly feels a chip on his shoulder from the way that he's been bounced around a little bit. And it means a lot to him if he can get this. Probably the most to him out of anyone in this series, it would mean to.
Or maybe Lowry. Lowry wants a side.
Yeah.
I heard a little birdie told me if Lowry does win, he retires.
I believe that. Yeah, and because why not go out on top? Why not? Especially where he's at now. And by the way, you were exactly right about him. And in these playoffs, he's been great, especially in the later games. In the last series and already in this one. He's been great.
It's been great. All right, so Alex, tell everybody how they get a hold of you. You could read Alex Game 2's previews, reviews, and all that. He's doing such a good job. I may give him the Stanley Cup also, who knows? I haven't. Have you talked to the Greek or Norm? Are you on tomorrow at 6? Who knows if you're on or whatever?
I don't know. I'll be there if they need me.
Yeah, well, I'm there because they need me. So put it that way. All right, go ahead, Alex.
So I'm at FiredUp Alex on Twitter and at FiredUp Alex on Instagram as well. I'm on the crossover series here on the FiredUp Network and also on Point with Drew Ebanks and Joe here, and also on with Billy the Greek and Storm and Norm. Hopefully tomorrow, and I'm just on a regular basis.
All right, and again, we'll be back here for Wednesday. We may do a pregame. We'll definitely do a postgame show for every game here, and we're gonna endeavor to get either Tracy Murray Game 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. But we'll. You know what? Here's a sneaky. This series is not going to finish in 4. That's a master prediction. You're stunned at that. I know that. All right. I think we're going to go at least 6 games here,
Yeah.
not even five, at least 6 games here. And so far, it's been a good series. So 2 games in, and you didn't expect anything else. You know, Miami's going to come out like gangbusters in game 2. And Denver better watch how Miami comes out in game 3, put it that way.
Yeah, especially watch how I would think, Butler's prone to have a bigger game than he has in the first two. I mean, I felt like he could have taken more shots tonight than he did. I liked the way that, like I said earlier, they were a lot more aggressive and got to the rim though. They shot, a million times more free throws tonight. I mean, they were great. I mean, they shot some crazy 80% as a team from the line. So they were just incredible. Doing that is a huge turnaround from them. I mean, you look at that is a huge turnaround, and also. Puts the Nuggets in a different spot. So, and I expect the role players to play better in Miami as well. I mean, typically role players play better at home than on the road, especially in the playoffs. So, I would expect the role players that have been so important for the Heat in these playoffs to even play better at home than they did, tonight.
And I've just been texted. Do you guys know any status on Tyler Hero? And
Yeah,
it's just funny that he mentioned that I was going to close out with Tyler Hero. Don't be surprised. I know they said game 4. Don't be surprised if he shows up in game 3.
yeah. No, I agree with you. It's been a lot of positive reports out of Miami about Hero over the last couple days. I even put in my game 2 preview about the series that he may be back sooner than expected. He's been in practice and he looks good and everything. And I think he really could provide a spark offensively for them. I'd be careful as how much of a defensive liability, especially coming in off an injury, he could be. I know it's not a foot or a leg injury, but he's already not a great defender as is. The Nuggets can be pretty crazy on offense. So I mean, get him in his spots, and you know what I mean. But don't get him stuck down low with Jokic.
And
You know what I mean?
and just the fact that he comes back to play, that's an uplifting experience for Miami
Oh
as
yeah,
well. So
yeah, yeah.
I
I mean, he's
love
a
it.
big time scorer. I mean, he could exactly. He can put up a lot of points. I really like Hero's game a lot.
All right, so that's Alex Campbell. He may or may not be back tomorrow on the Fired Up Network at 6 p.m. with
Okay.
Billy the Greek and Norm Rumack. He will be back Wednesday when Game 3 happens in Miami, 8:30 Wednesday, June 7th. Series tied up at 1 with the Heat beating the Denver Nuggets tonight, 111-108. Any last comments?
No, man, it's just like the rest of the playoffs. Just that they've just been more than expected. They've just been so much fun to watch these playoffs. So, and I just expect more
And
at this
and
point.
it's going to be a good series
Yeah,
for sure. 5, probably 6, and who knows, maybe 7. And then there's talk of if this goes game 7, oh my God, the altitude is going to really tire out. They played 7 games here, four
yeah,
in Denver, like enough already. All right,
yeah. It's always the altitude argument, and it's like I don't know how much of a difference it makes, honestly.
it's crazy. All right, so this has been a Ballin Game 2 review of the NBA Finals. Again, the Miami Heat beat the Denver Nuggets 111-108. Series tied up at 1. Read, if you haven't watched this, look at it again on Viva Live TV channel 38 and read the article by Alex on firedupnetwork.ca. Thanks a lot, Alex.
Thank you, Joe.
And stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network.